Hello and welcome to the Australian Gamer Show. I'm Yug.
I'm Matt.
So tonight we're going to be talking, of course, about the PlayStation Move,
Portal 2.
Mac games.
Let's jump straight into that.
What,
What do we
Mac
want to
games?
say hi?
Yes, hello. It's been a while since
It's been a while. We've been a bit weird with podcasts lately. We've been doing them, but we haven't necessarily been doing them together.
Yeah.
Yes, you've been here and there. And
Yeah. Did you miss
I've
me?
been sick and no, actually.
Really?
No.
Did you have fun with Cormac last week?
Cormac is quiet.
Yes,
and
he is.
It makes it hard to cast any form of pod. But we do. I think we did a good podcast still. But
Cool. Okay. Well, it is nice to be back on the casting of the pod. Yeah, that's the thing. I've been running around going crazy with the Manabar stuff, of course, which is keep taking all my time in the world. I've been getting on average about 3 to 4 hours sleep every night.
that explains the hair.
Yeah. What?
Because your hair is kind of crazy.
It's always crazy.
I know, but
It makes no
that's kind
sense.
of was the point.
Actually, you know that scene in Thank You for Smoking,
Mm.
where the Rob, whatever is the character is like they're on the phone. And he's like,
Oh,
so
yeah.
what day do you sleep? You know, when do you sleep?
Yeah.
He's like, Sunday.
Yeah.
That's me
Right.
now.
Awesome.
That's when I sleep on Sundays. So yeah. Anyway, sorry, I digress.
Yeah, you are an aggressor.
Yes.
That's what you do. GDC is, I believe, happening at this
Right
exact moment.
this moment.
So there's currently game developer conferencing occurring.
Yeah, and like there's heaps of news that's coming out of that. I mean, you know, and lots of rumors and things like that.
Mm.
I read one that apparently they're saying Robin might be in the next Batman Arkham Asylum.
Apparently, that's the rumor that Robin will be making an appearance. I will be interested to see that, mostly because I think they will have to redevelop him in
Yeah.
order to make him sort of palatable to the modern gaming audience. So it'll be interesting to see like a Harley Quinn style revamp of
Yeah.
Robin to make him not look like a raging fruit.
But that's the thing. I mean, it's the equivalent of saying, "Hey, they're going to put Robin in the next Batman movie." There's no way they're not, or I don't know if they are. But the
I
point
know,
is,
but I just like the way you've gone with that. Like, yes, it is exactly like the
no,
Batman.
as in it's hard to visualize because Robin is such a flaming homosexual of a character.
Yeah, it is. It is hard. It'll be.
Is it hard, Matt?
Yes,
Right.
it's hard. Robin makes it hard because Robin's gay.
But anyway, look, there's a whole bunch of stuff about GDC, and I do apologize. Like I said, I've been running around like crazy. I haven't been able to follow anything. I am the worst person to be talking about gaming at this exact point in time.
Well, I've been following it a little bit, and I've been following the GDC news particularly. But what's been particularly interesting about the GDC is how thoroughly it's been dominated by the PlayStation Move.
Yeah.
We've seen, I think, starting at E3 last year, Sony showing a prototype of a motion control system.
Yes.
And it at the time it had a dorky ball on the top of it, and
Yes.
everyone went, "Well, it's a prototype; it won't have a dorky ball when they release it." It does, in fact, still have a dorky ball on the top of it. It's weird. The system uses a combination. I don't know how much you know about it, but the system basically uses a combination of the PlayStation Eye.
Yep.
You have to have the eye. The eye is part of the system.
Yep.
And sensors within the moving things.
Sure.
To detect its position, and apparently does a very, very good job of doing so.
Well, yeah, from the tech demos and things I've seen, it looks very impressive. And I mean, the thing that's been related to that I've heard quite a bit is it's a working Wii controller.
Yeah. I was going to say, you know, when you look at something like that, you have to ask, what can it do that the Wii doesn't?
Sure.
And there's of course two obvious answers to that, both of which are kind of snarky. One is work. And the other is be visible on games.
Yeah.
You know, be in HD and not look like shit.
Well, I mean, it's obviously, comparing it, you've obviously got to compare it to the Wii and the Wii motes and things like that. Some of the actual games that they were showing that I did see a couple of things about it. It looks like they're going to have a compilation game with the boxing and the archery and stuff like that. That's very Wii sportsy.
Yeah, it's very Wii Sports Resort. In fact, they had a sword fighting one as well that apparently is not unlike the sword fighting one in the thing. In Wii Sports Resort, but apparently it works quite a lot better and is quite fun.
I
And
would expect it too. Yeah.
it's interesting just how much it's like the Wii controller in the respect that it has like a nunchuck type attachment as well. That doesn't attach. That's wireless.
Yep.
Which is an improvement over the design of the Wii.
Sure.
and it's got apparently very little sensor in it. It's not because the nunchuck is movement sensor
It
as
is.
well,
Yep.
but a shit one. But it, like deliberately shit. It's a basic accelerometer.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to be much of a controller. But essentially, it's about kind of move with the left and shoot with the right.
No, I get.
Is what they're going for. But so it is very similar in a lot of respects. And one interesting thing about that is that while a lot of things that they do for the Wii involve the nunchuck and the other thing, the normal controller, the Wiimote, pretty much everything that uses two hands on the PS3 version will use two controllers.
Right. Wow, that was a long way to get around to saying that, though.
Yeah, it was, because I kind of lost my train of thought.
Have we switched roles here? Because, I mean,
no,
wow.
well, it's interesting because it looks like you're going to have to use two controllers for a lot of things, which will mean surely a limit of two people. You know what I mean?
I see what you're going with. Well, so, I don't know. To be honest, these days, I'm not up for speculating about the limitations of systems these days. So.
There was something that I did quite like about it. You know the Dicky ball that's on the top? Dicky ball.
The Dicky ball?
Interesting.
Right, good work.
The Dicky ball on the top of it, have you seen the colours?
Pink, isn't it?
Well, there's been different ones. They've shown that, like, if you see some of the promo images, they've got, like, a blue one and a yellow one and an orange one.
Oh, right, different colours. Oh,
yeah,
isn't that
and that's cool. And I thought, you know, the logical thing for that is say something like Buzz.
Yeah.
Where you have a different colour each and you hold up yours to Buzz.
Okay, sure.
Cool, I get that. Apparently, though, what it does is it's quite clever. All of them can be all colours. They don't have a colour. They are white by default, and they can change colour internally.
Yeah, that's cool.
And what they do is they measure the colours behind you, and then they colorise the ball for the best contrast and clarity.
Very clever.
Yeah, and that's pretty cool because, you know, the iToy, it's not called the iToy anymore. It's called the PlayStation Eye because it's no longer a toy.
Oh, we're serious now.
This is serious business. And it is quite a lot more advanced than the earlier iToys. I mean, they were only really suitable for ninjas on white.
I remember when I first got an iToy for the PlayStation 2, back when I was actually living with you in Newmarket. And I remember in order to actually get it working properly, in the lounge room where we were at, we actually had to move all the couches out of the way because we had to get like that 3 to 4 meter space in front of it, and it had to be on a perfect white wall.
Yeah.
And even then, like, it was only half the time it would work.
But the PlayStation Eye works a lot better than that, and from the looks of it, it actually is able to do quite a good job of this, particularly when it's got the glowy ball on the top and so on.
Sure.
So I've heard a lot of people dismissing it. I think people tend to do that when they first hear of something and they're like, I don't know.
Especially when there's a peripheral that comes out that they feel is targeted not towards a gamer audience, which the iToy certainly initially was, you know, very, very casual market sort of thing. So.
And these controllers similarly seem much more casual because they're aiming at that same sort of Wii demographic.
Yeah.
I'm willing to give it a go, and I think it could potentially add something to games maybe. Because while the obvious thing is what games are coming out that will use it, the answer is a lot of games that are on the PlayStation 3 now will be upgraded to support this thing, including things like Little Big Planet. Hey. How and why and what exactly that means, we'll have to wait and see.
I've just got that image. You know how if you move the joysticks around, you flail the arms? So you'd actually flail your arms around, and that would be the little character or something like that.
Or you could put both of them up, and it makes him grin.
Actually, that's it. I keep forgetting the fact that it's got not iToy, PlayStation Eye associated with it as well. So there's a scope for so much more interaction.
There is, and it could get to whether it could get to the Natal sort of level. I'm not sure. Probably not, because I think that's a quite better camera.
Different kind of technology as well. Keep in mind the Natal based itself on, I think, infrared and the motion capture. So it's very.
But motion capture is done through a camera. It's software done by a camera.
Yes.
If the camera's good enough, then you just need software.
Okay.
So I'll be interested to see what the difference of the resolution of the cameras is.
Yep.
But in any case, I will be really interested to see what happens. And one of the most interesting things coming out for it is a game called, I think it's called like Shooter or something.
Well, that's pretty straightforward. Yep.
And it's basically a Wii blaster kind of game, shoot at the screen type deal. With the exception that it also watches your body, so you can duck out of the way of things and move around things and change angles to get a better shot.
Yep.
And it looks quite fun. It's a sort of hyped up type shooter. It's not a
realistic.
not
serious.
a realistic. It's more of a Serious Sam sort of
Which
first-person
I
Serious
am
Sam kind
all
of game.
for.
It looks fun. It looks really overdone, and unlike the Wii, it could look really cool. Like
Yeah.
House of the Dead Overkill was a great fun game, but it didn't exactly look good.
Right. Okay.
You know.
Well, it looked the part. It's supposed to be retro-y kind of
But
old
only
school
'cause that's-
grindhouse movies.
It's only because that's all they could do.
Oh well, look, I think Sony is redeemed themselves quite a bit at the moment. I mean, you've got God of War 3, which comes out on the 18th.
It does.
Of
indeed.
March. You've had Heavy Rain that's come out. I haven't played it, and I've heard mixed reports all over the place. So I don't know.
I've heard people really, really stretched on that. I don't mean to preempt Cavs. No, actually, Cavs reviewing it.
Yep.
So I can say Brett loved it. He thinks it's amazing, greatest thing since sliced bread.
Brett also
Whereas
thinks
Jay's
that Sega Rally was the best game of all time.
Yeah, it's like I think it's now. I can't remember what one of the games is, but Heavy Rain and Sega Rally are now the three best games ever.
Yeah, but this is the thing. See, we've had Brett on our site for 2 years, and I think it was safe to say that no one can actually trust his opinions on games.
Oh, I trust his opinion. But just on God of War, it was interestingly announced that it cost $44 million to make God of War. Now, I think they've spent most of that on the sex minigame. Have you seen this?
I haven't.
There's a video online on YouTube, and we'll watch it afterwards.
Yeah.
That shows this sex minigame that you play that has, like, you getting Kratos with two chicks.
Oh, how far we've come in the video game industry.
Literally.
Yes.
That's part of the minigame. It's a distance competition. No.
Man, imagine that with the PlayStation Move. No.
No. New dimension to the game. That would be great.
It's worth noting, though, that like $44 million is a lot for a game. Don't get me wrong. But by no means is it the most. I was also reading that the most expensive game of all time was Grand Theft Auto 4 at a whopping $100 million.
Yeah, and even at 44 million, it's not even in the top. It's in the top 12
10.
or something.
Oh, I'm not sure.
No, I think it's at something like 12 or 13.
I know Resistance 2 is the one above it. That cost $45 million to make.
Yeah, and Halo 3 was hang on. So,
Gran Turismo 5 was
80 million counting.
Yeah, true.
Shenmue at 70 million is a really interesting one. That was a while ago. Like, that was a long time ago, Shenmue.
Holy crap, LA Noire is on that list. It's number 8 at $50 million. Good work, Australian game industry.
Well, LA Noire is a really interesting one because we're starting to see some promo and stuff coming out for that now.
Yeah,
and
sure.
it looks like that one's actually back on track, which it was looking a little dead.
Well, mainly probably thanks to Rockstar actually backing it, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think that's really exciting. Do you know Rockstar, as a publisher, have only ever published one game that wasn't developed internally?
Really?
And that was State of Emergency. So
Right.
LA Noire is only the second game, and like it takes a lot for Rockstar to go to another developer, hey, we like your game, we'll publish it, and we won't, I don't know, buy you.
Yeah.
Like, because they'd probably be able to quite easily, I
possibly.
suppose. But yeah, no, the fact that Rockstar has actually sunk their money and their confidence behind LA Noire, I think speaks volumes about it. So
It does indeed. It'll be interesting to see more when that comes out.
Mm.
Final Fantasy 12 is up on the list as well, and
Yeah.
Killzone 2 is at 45 million.
Yeah.
So God of War doesn't even make the list.
Yeah, but I mean, look, it's a big, huge anticipated title, so and it's a first party title as well. So of course Sony wants to really pull out all the stops on this one.
Having recently played Dante's Inferno, I'm looking forward to seeing how the genre could be done. That being said, I've played the beta, and I was not impressed at all.
You played the beta of God of War 3?
Yeah.
And you weren't impressed?
No, I didn't like it at all. I'm like, is that it, really? But apparently things have changed quite a lot. Betas
Okay.
and it's quite a lot more impressive now. So it deserves. It's a big enough title that it deserves to be given
a shot. Given a go.
Given a shot. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I mean, some of the other news that came out of GDC, or was it GDC? I think it was actually a little bit before
I
GDC.
think so, yeah.
Was information about Portal 2.
Cormac and I talked about this last
Yeah,
week.
but that was you and him.
Yeah.
I haven't had my chance to talk about it.
No, but we... let me finish, please, sir.
I'm sorry, Matt. Oh, sir.
Sir.
I'm sir now. Fantastic. Oh, professional like.
Sir, cum-sized. Because that way it's like circumcised and you're cum-sized.
Right.
The size of it. Whatever.
yeah.
Anyway, so yeah,
Bringing down the standards, man.
last
That's
week,
great.
Comic and I talked about how it was looking like Portal 2 was going to be announced,
Right,
and,
okay.
and since then it obviously has been.
Yes.
There's been a bit of info that's come out about it as well, and it looks really interesting.
Yeah. I mean, look, they're saying that, and this, I suppose, this is a bit of a spoiler alert. If anyone wants to know absolutely nothing about a game before it
fuck
comes
'em,
out, fuck
really.
them. Yep. It's apparently it's set hundreds of years after the original, and yes, the villain is going to be GLaDOS again.
Turns out she's still alive. Also, you know that thing about the cake?
Fuck off. Anyway, Valve have said that it's going to be a more full-fledged game. I mean, the original Portal, I don't think anyone, Valve of all people, didn't expect it to be as big as it,
No.
as huge as it was. And I mean, it was only like four hours of
It
rooms
was-
of just puzzles. It was supposed to be almost a tech demo.
It
Sort of
was.
thing.
I mean, originally it was a tech demo
Oh, it was.
done
Yeah,
by
that's right,
some
yeah.
done by some university students as kind of a project. Valve liked it and developed it a little further, but you know they hadn't realized the potential of the brand. And,
Yeah,
and
So I mean, the thing with Portal 2 is they're saying that it's going to be a fully fledged game. There's going to be extra features in it, like with portals, you can use them to actually suck air from one area into another. There's going to be like mechanisms that feature like liquid substances that you can shoot out and do different things. Let's not
yeah.
relate that back to the previous topic.
Let's. There's also something with like some of the cubes that you can use to reflect light and have laser-based puzzles. All in all, it seems like they're elaborating greatly on the original core of Portal. Now,
Yeah.
I think you know where I'm going here.
I do.
Which is?
Which is that you're unsure if that amount of diversity is actually going to dilute the original concepts.
Yes.
How big were those words?
That was pretty
That was good.
Yeah.
I'm a journalist.
There's the potential to overcomplicate what was originally such a simple core mechanic, and it Valve are good. They know their shit, and I'm not going to try and second guess them. But it's another
But you
one.
are.
Yes, but it's another one that I'm going to have to wait and see a little bit. What's also really interesting about Portal 2 is the potential for co-op. Is something they're adding, and there's going to be like cooperative play with a picture-in-picture mode, so you can see what the other person's doing as a little embedded picture in your own play, and I think that is fucking cool.
Yep.
So
I think that's cool. I just want to get back to this whole thing though of diluting Portal by adding more elements. It's almost take a step back. Instead of criticizing what they're doing, have a think about what the hell would you do. It's almost like damned if you do, damned if you don't. If you do stick to the original and you just very almost like kind of Bioshock 2-ish, where you actually kind of stick to the same theme, the same environments, the same concepts that people loved in the first game, then you get criticized for being too similar to the first game. But then again, if you don't innovate, if you don't really try and take new challenges and make it a bigger, fully fledged game, then you get criticized again. It's I don't really know what they're going to do where people like us won't sit on a podcast and go, well, I don't know, because that's just not really what I expected.
Well, I think what they've actually done here is probably taken a step back and gone, if we were making a whole game, what would we want it to do?
Yeah.
And I think that's probably what they've ended up with so many different potential things is because they want a whole experience rather than just something simple, and I think they'll probably pull it off pretty well. I'm just concerned.
I'm genuinely excited about. My biggest concern is not so much the extra features they're putting in, because I think all of them sound cool, and I have a lot of faith in Valve. My biggest concern is the humor in the first game and the pace of it, and everything was just so fucking beautiful that anytime you tend to throw a lot more budget and a lot more time and put a lot more pressure on a sequel, you don't tend to get the same experience. I just worry that it might be a bit more forced, or lightning won't strike twice in terms of, I'll play through it and it's like, wow, this just really is very puzzle based, and it's really heavy on the puzzles and really light on the characters, the plot, the humor, and all that. That worries me.
The humor and the writing in the original were a big part of what made it so strong.
Yeah, and it's hard to recreate that sense of exploration and figuring things out for the first time, and actually we know who the bad guy is now. We know what the concept of Portal. So how do they make it exciting and new again? That's so that's my biggest concern with Portal. I do like the fact that there's been some things that have said where they're going to some things have been going around some of the forums saying that there's some hints that Portal 2 is actually tying in with Half-Life 2 Episode 3.
Indeed.
And indeed, when you play through Episode 3, towards the end, there was actually little nods and hints towards Aperture Science. So
Yeah.
I like the fact that there's a bit of crossover there, and they might start to actually be merged together.
Well, yeah. I think you just said when you finish episode 3.
Yeah. No, Episode 2.
Yeah, that's probably what
Yeah,
you meant. I
that
doubt
is what I
you've
meant.
played much of episode 3.
I
but
haven't really touched it yet. No.
Yeah.
I've been busy, like I said.
Yeah, you're right. And with 3 surely looming, like
Yeah.
they've got to be working on it, surely.
If I remember correctly, I think at the end of 2 there was something to do with a. Did you play 2?
No, I haven't played the episodes yet.
Should I? I'm gonna wreck it then, aren't I?
Yeah, don't.
Okay, I won't spoil it.
Good.
There we go.
Awesome.
Wow, that finishes that conversation quickly.
So let's jump on to while we're still.
Well, hold
talking
on. For
about
anyone that has played it, you know that bit at the end.
Hey, what
No,
are
no.
you?
No, you know the bit at the end with the thing where you go to next. I think that ties in to the Portal universe.
Wow. I always figured they were the same universe, so it's
Okay.
kind of fun. I mean, Aperture Science is a competitor of Black Mesa.
Yes,
that's kind of
exactly.
Been a point.
Established.
While we're talking about Portal and we're talking about Valve, Steam has been announced for definite for Mac.
Yep.
And aside from Steam, all of Valve's games are being ported over to Mac, which is quite interesting. Among them, and most recently announced, is Left 4 Dead.
Cool.
I'm not sure about 2, but I know 1 is definitely being ported.
Okay.
So that's kind of cool. That should make.
Here's
some
a
people
question
happy.
for you: Can Mac Steam users play against PC Steam users?
Interesting.
Mm.
I suspect so. They're probably not that different, all in all.
I don't know. No idea.
It would seem to me that would have the same networking code.
We are totally speculating. Let's say
No,
yes.
I'm speculating with intelligence and accuracy.
Well, it's still wild speculation, though.
Yeah. All right. But as well as
Left 4 Dead.
Valve,
Oh, Valve, yep.
quite a lot of other companies have announced that they're porting their games to Mac as
Okay.
well. I don't know any of them, but there have been quite a few.
Yay for
I
well-researched
realized
topics.
as we started this topic that I actually had no idea what I was talking about. But I've been reading during GDC, quite a lot of people have been sort of coming forth and saying that yes, we are supporting Mac as well. So it looks like
Well, look, that makes sense to me. Look, I have no idea how prevalent Mac is in the home user market, but certainly every workplace I go to these days, everyone has Macs.
yes, but you're a graphic designer.
Yeah.
That does skew things a little bit.
Yeah.
Um,
Do you know what I played the other night?
What?
Actually, the place where I work, it's called Speedwell. They actually have been doing these after-night gaming sessions
right.
of Team Fortress 2.
Okay.
And I have not played Team Fortress 2 in a long time. I think the last time I played Team Fortress 2 was before any of the updates to any of the characters
Right.
had applied. And so I was really nervous because I'd actually bailed on about 3 of these nights beforehand because I was like, I'm really busy, I can't come. To the point where everyone's like, oh yeah, the big guy with the gaming bar can't play Team Fortress 2.
Yeah.
And started bagging me out. So I'm like, fuck it, all right, fine, I'm going to stay, I'm going to play this. And I was totally prepared to
Get owned. Yeah.
get my ass kicked to the point where I'd just run around and try and kill myself for humor's sake. Do you know the point where you know you're not good enough? So
you try to pretend it's deliberate.
exactly, it's
Yeah.
like, oh, I meant to do this because it was funny.
Yeah.
You know, but no, my gamer skills kicked in,
Nice.
and the round that I played, I actually got the most kills, and I was like, yeah, it's like
Nice,
riding
nice.
a fucking bike. I was well impressed with myself.
Speaking of getting kills, did we want to veer into
I really want to know where this goes.
in the US, in Texas, I believe it was, a 4-year-old girl picked up a handgun that was on the table next to her, thinking that it was a Wii controller, and shot herself in the stomach.
What? Okay.
This happened the other day, and there's been the newspaper reports and the news reports were basically saying that she learned to play the Wii. She learned to shoot by playing Wii.
If you'll excuse me though, she learned to play the Wii wrong.
I do think
You
so.
don't really do that very well in the game if you shoot yourself. with the Wii. It doesn't work.
I did make the point in the forum that clearly she's been playing Super Mario Shoot Yourself in the Stomach, a favourite of mine. Weird, a bizarre case, and it's interesting because apparently the father.
Hold on, what the fuck was the gun just doing lying on the table?
Why did someone leave a handgun next to a 3-year-old?
Yeah.
What a crazy question. It's clearly video games.
I know, let's not bring that one up in the media.
That one was actually brought up, and it turned out that the father had heard a prowler and had gone checking for it and had got out like the gun, which is normally kept in a gun safe,
and then put it
on
the
the
table.
And then just left it on the coffee
while
table.
While he kept hunting for the prowler.
No, he put it down. He went like, well, guess there's no prowler. I'll just leave the gun on the table and go get a coffee or something and a bagel.
And leave the kid at home with the gun.
Well, he didn't go out. He probably was just wandering off.
Right.
But yeah, weird
And so
story.
hold on, the 4-year-old... Sorry.
3-year-old.
The 3-year-old turned around and said, I thought it was a Wii controller?
No, she didn't, because she was dead, because she shot herself in the stomach with it.
So
They just assumed. Everyone just assumed, based on the fact that she shot herself, that she thought it was a Wii controller.
What the fuck?
It's a bizarre story.
How do they...
Make noises.
How do they jump to that fucking conclusion?
Well, I don't know. It seems more likely to me that she had been playing Wii and she saw this thing and picked it up and started playing with it instead, rather than...
Yeah. I mean, if she'd been playing with her Lego, would they have then said, oh yeah, well she makes guns with her Lego and pretends to shoot herself, so, you know, it's Lego's fault. I don't know, like...
A lot of people have complained about the story and basically the bias given in that... You know, computer games take yet another life.
You know what,
but to be honest, I actually haven't seen that much bias. People have, the news reports have mentioned she was playing Wii and mentioned that she probably thought it was a Wii controller. And there has been a photo that's been circulating that's of a gun add-on for the Wii controller that really does look like a gun.
Right.
Like, because a Wii controller and a gun really don't look very similar, but this one does. And
okay.
I think it's implied that that's the one that the parents had, that they actually did have that
but
one.
We still
but
don't know.
I don't really know for sure that was in fact the one, or whether someone just found that and thought it was a good illustration.
Yeah, well, I would say probably the latter.
Probably the latter, but we'll wait until...
Good job, media.
We'll wait until Fox News gets a hold of it and spins it
Yeah.
into this tragic tale of a little girl who was destroyed by video games. Yet another one. Not guns.
No, guns don't kill people.
No.
Wii's kill people.
Wii's kill people.
Yeah.
So it's a very weird story. I just thought I'd add that.
No. It's
to sort of brighten up the day.
It is, but to be honest, over the time that we've run AustralianGamer.com, you know, every couple of months there's always a story about how some kid did something stupid and they blame video games, and then we're constantly on the defensive saying, look at all the points in this particular story. How stupid is it that you could actually relate that to video games or blame video games? I'm almost immune to these kind of stories now, to the point where it's like, it's a broken record. Yeah, okay, it's another story and you're reporting it inaccurately and being stupid.
My favourite of these sort of stories was the one, and the funny thing is, when the truth comes out, it's often not at all game related, but that never comes out because that's irrelevant. It's not interesting news anymore. But the most interesting one I read was the one where basically a kid who was a keen fan of Grand Theft Auto 4 shot another kid because he'd learned how to rob people in Grand Theft Auto 4.
Right.
Now, the news media ran with that quite thoroughly, and it was only later, when it had all died down, that it was revealed that in fact the kid who did the shooting was not a gamer. The victim was. So apparently playing Grand Theft Auto 4 teaches you how to get mugged.
Yeah. That's good. That's great.
Yeah. So that was kind of a weird one. That was always my favorite because that was never reported widely.
No, of course not. Why would it be? That's
and
boring.
The same with one of the shooters who everyone said was into Counter-Strike and had learned and simulated his kills on that. But it turned out he actually only ever played Sonic. And he was, in fact, a keen player of Sonic the Hedgehog.
if he learned how to kill by using Sonic the Hedgehog, there would have been a very different outcome.
He would have been jumping
situation.
on shit, basically.
Yeah, trying to actually roll onto people.
Roll on things,
which wouldn't kill
just
someone.
Stopping in place and spinning.
I can imagine that. Some guy's like, I'm gonna get you. Crouch down.
Yeah.
You right there? Don't
Yeah.
hold your breath too long. Anyway, look, we're going to start to wrap it up. I'm obviously, because I'm a whore, going to pimp out the Manor Bar, of course, which opens next weekend on the 20th of March.
Yeah, make sure you come because the place is going to be empty.
Yeah, there's hardly going to be anyone there.
Yeah.
Anyone that's worried about, the fact that it's only a 50-person capacity venue and...
Has 450 people currently saying they're coming.
Yeah. That's
On
just
Facebook alone. Yeah.
I can understand your concern.
Yeah, she'll be right.
We're open from midday to midnight. Keep in mind, though, that I have planned for entertainment prizes and giveaways just for the people in the line outside.
I like that.
Yeah, I've got people dressed up as gaming characters. They're going to be going up and down and giving away prizes. I've got a roving magician that's going to be doing tricks to everyone up and down the line. And yeah, so if you come and you line up, and it takes you a while to get in, rest assured you will be entertained.
Excellent. I approve of that.
So, yeah.
I have absolutely no stake in this bar, and I think you should stay at home. Play World of Warcraft or something.
Yeah.
That's what I'll be doing.
If you listen to Matt, do that.
You've got to listen to one of us on what to do with your Saturday night.
Well,
it's either going to be me or Guy. I don't know how you'll pick.
We're not really... It's not really the angel and the demon here because there's no real right or wrong answer there.
It's just what do you feel like doing?
Yeah.
Ogrimmar or Yug's Bar?
There we
The
go.
Manor Bar or Ogrimmar?
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in, and we will talk to you next week live from the Manor Bar.
Will we?
I don't know.
That's a good idea.
We should.
Let's do
All
that.
right, we're going to do next week's podcast live from the Manor Bar.
All right, see you later, guys.
See you guys.
Look forward to that.